This is a 2014 Countryman S R60. This car has 130,000 kilometers on it. Almost every single day of its life has gone up and down this dirty mountain road, and if anything was going to break, it broke. So, in this video, we're going to review it. We're going to see what was the most durable and what was broken. My name is Ethan, and welcome to Car Creations. The Countryman All-4 is a fun, practical car that gets good fuel economy and still has enough space for luggage and passengers. It really delivers amazing all-wheel drive performance while still being a blast to drive. My parents bought this car 6 years ago to be their daily for work, school runs for my younger siblings, to be able to make it up this road in the winter while still getting good fuel economy. When you look at any other car in the market, nearly none of them have all these check marks. Really? It's an amazing car. However, the R60 and many of the other R-Series Minis have been notorious for engine issues and build quality issues. So let's take a little look at what could have gone wrong and what did go wrong. So firstly, let's take a look at some of the things that held together. Minis used to be notorious for electrical issues and little faults like that. However, this Mini has none of those issues. As far as electrical issues go, other than these two bulbs at the top of both the rear taillights going out, everything is completely fine. The other weird issue with this car happens to be the locks. Randomly, one of these doors will just simply not unlock. You can press as many times as you want, nothing will happen. You let the car rest for a couple hours or so and the door is working again. So I don't know what that means, but it happens anyway. So the engine in this car has been relatively good. It doesn't have any of the timing chain issues like have plagued many of the R-Series. It does, however, have a really weird check engine light that turns on. And we saw that it was just a sensor that was off, so we'll take a look at that later. On the interior, the black leather seats are still in amazing condition. And the black leather that is clad pretty much shoulder down all around the car has little to no scratches, which is pretty amazing considering the amount of kids that have been in this car. Overall, everything has held up pretty well, and especially the most important things, like we were talking, the engine. So despite the good things, there has been quite a few things that has broken and has been a big pain. However, most of these things are due to the road that we live on. There is some things that are, however, due to the build quality of the R-Series. So, for example, this black plastic is super brittle, and when you're going up and down bumps, you can hear the entire thing making noises. Because of this plastic being so stiff, it's actually caused a bunch of pressure on the infotainment system here. Plastic, this plexiglass material that covers the center dial, has actually cracked. Other than that, the interior is in pretty good condition. Once again, because of the road, there is some other external issues that we've had to work with over the last little bit. For example, the shocks. This road is super tough on shocks, so this car has had to have new shocks and coils put on the front as well as on the rear. And on one of the rear shocks, the coil was actually completely snapped in two. So I don't know if that goes for the craziness of the road or if it goes for the car itself, but this has been the first car that being owned up here where the shock is literally broken in half. Living up a road like that, you kind of expect the drivetrain to be one of the first things that goes. However, if we come to the front, we've actually had a bunch of issues inside the engine bay itself. One of the things that also broke was the hood release. So we got that fixed, and then underneath here, the hose clamps they use just fall apart. So you'll get leaks everywhere. Wherever there's a hose clamp, that has a possibility of a leak. So a bunch of them have been replaced in here. One of the things that has gone wrong with this engine a few times was related to cooling. The thermostat housing went and caused it dripping to the bottom of the car like a watering can. And every time the car had to be driven, more coolant put in it just to be able to get to town and back. And the other thing that went was the oil pressure sensor. A recent development, as of a day ago, the vacuum pressure pump went. So we were going down a mountain and suddenly brakes, in order to have any brakes, you literally had to push the pedal to the bottom of the floor. So hopefully we can get that working soon. It should be somewhat of an easy and cheap fix, but because of the way the engine is set up, it's really hard to get in there and fix. Alright, so other than that, the engine itself has been pretty good, as we said. R-Series engine timing chain and valve seal issues have not happened on this engine. On the exterior, there has been a number of random dents from pretty much use. However, despite there being somewhat of a large list of things that went on this car, they are to be expected, and that isn't my parents' biggest complaint.
It is hard to work on. Everything is underneath everything else. But the real problem is getting parts. Based on the Peugeot engine, and its parts in North America are almost impossible to find. We're waiting for weeks, months to get parts in. Those shocks, we had to wait for 3 weeks. Other than that, I've loved this car. It's worked perfectly, but it hit 130,000 kilometers, and so because it takes so long to get parts, it's been up on blocks for the last 3 weeks, and we can't rely on it. So we're stuck, my 5'2" wife driving an F350 diesel all the way around town getting groceries. When I did do a search for a vehicle that can handle a little bit of rough country and rough roads as far as SUVs go, this was number 3. Maybe they're talking about the newer ones. I have to get a loan from you.
So should you buy an R60 Countryman over a F-Series? Well, if you can stretch it and get an F-Series, even if you get a lower spec F-Series, definitely do that. As you can hear, this car has taken a hammering on this road, so it actually is held together amazingly well, and I would have no issues recommending this to someone else. Having worked myself on an F-Series engine, on an F-Series car, it is so much easier, 1, to get parts, 2, to even fix, to remove the panels on the interior, to get to key components on the exterior. So if you can, go for an F-Series. For the craziness that this car has endured, these bumps on this road, many kids banging around in the back, has stood the test of time. Do you still want a Mini and have to get an R-Series like this? Just make sure you keep on top of some of those little issues that come up, and just be aware of what could happen and will happen if you beat it up going up a dirt road. Alright, so that has been the video. We hope you enjoyed, as well as our special little guest there, talking all about our family car that we've had over the last 6 years, and that we've taken up and down the mountain many times and literally put it through its paces every single day of its life. So if you have any questions, leave them down below, and we'd love to answer them about the car or about any mods that you want to do on your cars. We'd love to give you ideas about that. But also make sure you check out the rest of our videos and like and subscribe for future content to come. But most of all, we hope you all have an amazing rest of your day.
Wait for me! Wait for me!